Well, hello everyone and happy Tuesday. It is digital host A.J. Wuest welcoming you back to Before the Four, the live stream where I take you guys through some of 48's top news stories and then some before our 4 o'clock newscast. How is everyone doing today? Let me know in the comments. I want to know how you're doing today. Are you staying warm? I know it is very difficult right now because it is certainly extremely cold. But wherever you're watching Before the Four today, whether it is on Facebook, YouTube, or the 48 Now live stream, as always, thank you so much for watching and spending just a bit of your Tuesday afternoon here. Now, of course, starting things off, let's take a look at how it's looking in the weather world this week. I certainly said earlier it is cold. And at the moment, it is cold, and my fingers are definitely staying crossed that it'll warm up sooner rather than later. But tomorrow, however, will not be one of those days. It is staying cold, that is for sure. But let's turn it over to 48 First Alert Chief Meteorologist Brad Travis for a look at the latest forecast. Brad?
Coldest night coming, AJ. It was cold the other night, down to 12. Last night we were around 14, but tonight we're dropping all the way down anywhere from 6 to 9 degrees. So just be ready. Make sure you protect your pipes out there. Current temperatures just before 4 o'clock in the low to mid 20s. The cloud cover hasn't helped, but we are thinning out the clouds. The sunshine may return to the shoals before the day is out. A clear sky tonight, brutal cold weather. 9 at 4 o'clock in the morning. Some areas will be colder than that. Protect your pipes and please make sure your pets are indoors. Here's that 3-day forecast. 36 tomorrow. We get above freezing, but we may not get that way until about 1 in the afternoon. Down to 19 still Thursday, but then we finally start climbing out of this as we head into the weekend. Maybe a flurry or two for Friday, and then rain chances increasing Saturday into Sunday. We'll be talking more about that coming up. A warming trend to begin the month of February, but still several more cold days ahead.
Whew, he said it was going to be how cold now? Single digits. That is bizarre. And it looks like Linda Waddell, she commented on Facebook. She said, trying to stay inside where it's warm. And as you should, no doubt about it. Well, thank you, Brad. Now in Madison County, where a 2-car crash has left 2 dead. HIMSI spokesperson Don Webster tells us the crash happened near Bob Wade Lane and Material Drive just before 8 this morning. The 2 victims killed have not been identified at this time, but we will make sure to continue to update you as we learn more. But now an update to a story we brought you yesterday. The person killed in a crash in Huntsville has now been identified. The incident happened at the intersection of Winchester Road and Henson Drive. State troopers identified the victim as 64-year-old Felicia Hereford Kegler. Authorities say the crash happened when her Honda Civic collided head-on with a tractor trailer driven by a Huntsville man just before 2 p.m. yesterday. Authorities say she was not wearing a seatbelt and died at the scene. Now, this crash remains under investigation. But now, moving over to a national story that broke earlier today, 22 states, with the addition of the District of Columbia and the city of San Francisco, have filed a federal lawsuit to block President Trump's executive order to end birthright citizenship. And yesterday, 48's Callie Nee spoke with a Decatur attorney on the topic of birthright citizenship, and take a listen to what she had to say on the topic.
President Trump made many promises, including one to begin the process to end birthright citizenship for those whose parents were illegal immigrants. Right now, if you are born on U.S. soil, you are a citizen, according to our Constitution. Kimberly Fasking is an immigration attorney based in Decatur. She said Trump was looking at putting an executive order to end birthright citizenship, but he cannot amend the Constitution with just an executive order.
I like to say it's absurd because, because the process would be so difficult. Like I said, he can't just amend the Constitution with an executive order. So for him to fight to try to do that, it would take so many different people agreeing. I just don't see it being a realistic thing that would happen.
Though birthright citizenship may not be changing anytime soon, borders have already closed and the Customs and Border Protection One app has been shut down. Now it may be harder to enter our country. Fasking said the app was designed for those seeking asylum in the U.S. to join virtual queues for border appointments.
all of those appointments have been canceled, and so they're no longer able to do that.
Faskin said nothing is going to change overnight, so just stay calm.
In the meantime, just stay calm. Everything's not going to change overnight. You're going to have time, and so just, stay calm and talk to somebody you trust about your case.
At last check, 8 southwestern border points were no longer available, and all existing appointments have been canceled. Reporting in Decatur, Callie News 48 News, on your side.
Well, thank you, Callie. And now to Owens Crossroads with the story in case you missed it. The business license hearing for troubled youth facility Pathway of Madison County is coming up in February. But what happens to those kids currently housed at the facility if the license is revoked? 48's Nick Ballinger tells us all the details.
If city leaders in Owens Crossroads decide to pull the business license of Pathway of Madison County, its future is clear. The doors must close. But for the girls inside, their future is anything but.
There is going to be a difficult transition for these children.
Tommy James is an attorney who represents children who've been housed at facilities like Pathway. Facilities meant to be the last stop for troubled youth in and out of the foster care system while collecting state funding.
Some of these children do not need to be in a place like Owens Crossroads that are there. And DHR will be like, we can help them. You can't afford that, so we'll help. We can provide the services. And then DHR takes custody, and then they send them to a place like this, which to me is a lose-lose.
James says if Pathway is forced to close, some of the girls may end up in the same exact situation.
Hopefully, they've got an opportunity to receive some services out in the community rather than being institutionalized. But sadly, some of them are going to end up in a place similar to or worse than Owens Crossroads somewhere else in Alabama.
He says after seeing conditions inside, a riot in September, and escapes earlier this month, he hopes the city council does close the facility. But a current employee who messaged me doesn't agree at all. The employee anonymously said, quote, their behavior is not the greatest, but they are working on it. No one is perfect. I do agree the higher-ups have a lot of changing to do to make the experience better for the girls, but I do not agree with anywhere is better than there.
Well, thank you, Nick. And now to the Shoals. Across the state, we've been seeing many cases of people's EBT accounts getting hacked and drained. 48's Aria Pons recently spoke with one Shoals resident who said the same thing happened to her. Take a listen.
2 years ago, a law was put in place to protect and replace SNAP benefits if they were ever stolen. However, that protection ended on December 20th of last year. Now, normally, the government will not reimburse any stolen benefits.
Oh, you've been hacked, Miss Stone? I've been what?
Sherry Stone buys food using an electronic benefit transfer or EBT card. She relies on this government benefit to feed herself, but she's run into a big problem twice now. Someone's hacking her EBT card and stealing her benefits.
I call every month on my food stamp day. I get up that morning and I call to make sure my benefits is on my card. And the last 2 months, there's no food stamps on my benefit day.
And now, due to the change in the law, she can't even get a reimbursement. To prevent thefts, the Alabama Department of Human Resources recommends that people change the pins to their EBT cards regularly. However, Stone says she has changed her card pin after each grocery store visit, and that still hasn't helped her. Stone adds that she doesn't know how it keeps getting hacked, and she says no one will tell her what else to do.
My resources and my life depends on my food stamp.
We did reach out to the Department of Human Resources to see why those reimbursements were canceled. However, the office is closed due to the holiday. Reporting in Sheffield, Aria Pons, 48 on your side.
Well, thank you, Aria. And now coming up after the break, we'll talk about some fun things you can do in Huntsville. One of them is going on tomorrow night. We'll go through the stories you're just not going to want to miss coming up in our evening newscast. And of course, we have to get to Facebook Fun today. It's all ahead. I'll see you all in 1 minute. Well, hello everyone and welcome back to Before the Four. Now, during the break, I was looking at some of the YouTube comments and I saw that Donna Kimbrough commented. She said, "Thank you for keeping us up to date on the weather. We are cold out here." She says they are in the shoals. Donna, I hope you are staying warm. Get some hot cocoa, get some hot hands. You definitely might need it. But Donna, thank you so much for commenting. But now, some of you might be looking to attend the Loomis Brothers Circus on Alabama A&M's campus this week. And yesterday, I got the chance to speak with one of the performers of the weekend's Western-themed circus for 48 Now. His name was, of course, the clown Easy, and he was awesome. Take a look at one of his tricks that he showed me.
Every single circus that we do is somebody's first circus and somebody's last circus. So you want to try to keep things secret. But I will tell you, I got an egg. What do you mean an egg? Well, it's simple. The best way to deal with an egg is just
Oh my goodness.
taste like chicken.
That is awesome. I am so glad you showed me that. That is incredible. And there's a whole lot more where that came from. Just head on out to Alabama A&M this weekend and catch one of the 6 shows happening. It sounds like it's going to be a great time, and you can catch that full 48 Now interview with Easy. For more details right now on our website, just head over to WAFF.com. But when he pulled out the egg, I was like, oh Lord, what is about to happen? And that was incredible. I was like, please come on 48 Now again, Easy. You are awesome. But now another awesome event going on in Huntsville tomorrow. Legendary Huntsville blues artist Microwave Dave is coming to St. Stephen's Music Hall. And yesterday I got the chance to speak with the man himself. Take a listen to what the legend had to say about his early life serving in Vietnam and how music brought joy to a rough situation.
Well, music has been there for me at every turn. There's never been a time where music did not serve what I was doing or did not serve what I needed. Not necessarily in terms of financial welfare, but it's always paid. And it's just always been the thing that came out of me naturally. So I would say that from the time I started playing, which was around age 10, it's always been something that I could count on. And it's always been something that I took great joy in. And once I found out that joy can be contagious, that you can actually make somebody else feel better about themselves for a while, either an hour or a day or however it runs, that you've really got something. And I still, at this point now, I have people coming up to me when I meet them out in public. They say, "You won't remember this, but back in 1990, I was having the worst day of my life, and you were playing so and so, and you played this song, and you looked right at me and sang this line, and that one line just changed the way I felt about everything." Well, of course, I have no idea that's happening out there. You offer the music, and you hope people will take something from it that's what they need. But it's pretty much a faith-based operation that you're putting it out there, and that's what they will get and take home. So that still happens. I found that out very much while I was in Vietnam. I was at a big base, Tong Tanut, which is a huge air base there at Saigon, and we had clubs all over it. And I got into a multiracial band. It was primarily black because we were playing soul music, and we had a lot of black soldiers and a lot of black, people working over there in the field who did not have their music being played in those bars, except for when this little band showed up, the rotations. So we were always having a full audience of people that wanted to hear contemporary soul music. And back in those days, that would have been the Temptations, Junior Walker and the All Stars, James Brown, Otis Redding. That was the kind of stuff that we did back then. And I saw the effect that it had on people. That the people who were over there in an unhappy situation, sometimes we were there during the Tet Offensive and the May Offensive in 1968, where you fear for your life. You're sitting there under rocket attacks and mortar attacks, and you don't know if you're going to make it through it or not. And I'd say that with that and seeing what music would do to take people temporarily out of that situation and into a better state of mind, feeling more like themselves as they would back home. That was worth it. I think one of the strongest feelings of that was playing in the Long Bend jail. That was a place down in Long Bend, about 40 miles away from Tonsanute, and that's where American troops who had gotten into legal trouble were housed in this pretty ramshackle pen. It was a big pen with some shacks in it, and it was heavily guarded. But you had a lot of people who were locked up over there. Whether it was a small offense or a big offense, I mean, they had people who had killed somebody in there with the people who didn't get their hair cut right. It's all mixed together. And that was a pretty severe thing, and they asked us to come down and play. So we came right into the jail and played for them. And I watched their faces as we took them out of that space, and we took them into what they remembered and into what they looked forward to when they finally got out of here and got everything done. It's amazing what music can do, and especially when it's being played with a feeling by somebody who means what they say. So it's a long explanation, AJ, and I'm sorry about that, but it's been proven to me time and time again, and I think, run on that more than anything else.
Incredible conversation with Microwave Dave yesterday. I saw Donna also commented, music brings everyone together, and that it does. That is for sure. An awesome interview, and I had to play that full soundbite, that full story. He proceeds to tell me an awesome story from his childhood, and then he apologized. I'm like, no, this is incredible. I am going to be playing this on Before the Four later on. That's what I was thinking at the time, but incredible conversation with Microwave Dave. Make sure to head on out to St. Stephen's Music Hall tomorrow night at 8 to catch his performance. But now let's turn over to the good side. And today, a South Dakota woman is turning pain into purpose. After losing her son, she's found a unique way to honor other young lives. And Local News Live's Eric Thorstensen introduces us, and let's take a listen.
Karina Wagner went through a parent's worst nightmare.
Back in 1989, my son was killed in a car accident. He was 7 years old.
The memories are still fresh from that tragic day.
About a mile from our house, mile and a half from our house. I walked probably 25 feet and noticed it was our pickup. And the highway patrolman told me at the time that my son was killed.
Despite the sadness, what happened also inspired Karina to make a career change.
I was so moved by our highway patrol, our Parks and Fire, and Metro Ambulance and Trip Ambulance that I wanted to give back to our community for what they did in our time of need.
She's now an EMT for the Parkston Rural Ambulance and the police chief of Trip.
I have one job to do, and that is to protect that individual that is in that vehicle and try to get them as much help as we can, as fast as we can.
But there's more to it on a personal level. It started with a tattoo to honor her son.
I started with my son when my son was killed. He liked Superman, so I got a Superman tattoo on my left leg.
And then to honor other kids who died in accidents, which are the toughest part of her job, more tattoos.
I got one on my left arm that says Landon Strong. Another one was Taylor Turnier was killed in a car accident, 16-year-old at the time. I got her wings up here with her jersey number from her volleyball. When you know these people, it's very hard. Anytime I get a tattoo, I ask the family initially, hey, is it okay if I do it? If not, that's fine. Just get something that would remember them by, and then I get their date of birth and expiration date, and usually their name is on there at some sort.
It's a permanent reminder to remember those who went too soon.
Healing my process with every youth that we lose at an early age, you know, we're never supposed to lose a child before us.
And there's one that really stands out on her forearm, the number 1440.
It's not finished yet. It'll be with her birth date, then her name and an expiration date. You know, how many minutes are in a day? You know, don't waste a minute, because you never know, you know, when it's going to be your last or somebody else's. You know, if you truly love them, tell them that, because it's, you know, something that you might not ever get back again.
In Parkston, Eric Thorstensen, Dakota News Now.
Awesome story there. And now let's head into the stories you're just not going to want to miss coming up in our evening newscast. Possible new parking options coming to the Huntsville International Airport. Get those details coming up. Another story you're just not going to want to miss. An update on a former Tuscumbia police officer convicted for manslaughter. Get those details from 48's Aria Pons. And finally, Florence police issuing a statement regarding a video of an arrest that has now circulated online. These are just a few of the stories you're just not going to want to miss coming up in our evening newscasts. And we didn't get to it yesterday, but today we have plenty of time. It is time for Facebook fun. That is right. And yesterday's Facebook question of the day, name something that we pay for that you think should be free. And honestly, this kind of pairs well with that question from last week. What was something you did not realize was expensive until you grew up? And honestly, there's a lot of things that I am now buying that I did not realize was expensive. I remember being like 4 or 5 years old, just telling mom, every time she would say like something's expensive, I'm like, just cut a check. Like that's all you got to do, just cut a check. But it's not as simple as I have learned. But let's see, what is something that you pay for that you think should be free? I want to know. Let's see. Dina said air at a gas station. That is honestly a very good point. My tire goes flat and it's not safe to be on the roads. I pull into a gas station and then you have to have like a few bucks on you to pay for air, and that is definitely not fun. That would be awesome for that to be free. That is for sure. Dina, I agree 100%. Let's see what else y'all had to say. Thank you for commenting, Dina. Bree said female hygiene products. I can understand, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for commenting, Bree. I greatly appreciate it. Owen said healthcare, property taxes, water, lunches at public schools. Very good point. That is incredible. Owen, thank you so much for commenting. Donnie said no taxes on anything after 65 years old. So no taxes for senior citizens. Donnie, thank you so much for commenting. It always makes my day seeing what you all have to say on the 48 Facebook question of the day. But it is awesome. And then finally, Amy said water. I agree with that. I think water, it comes from the sky. Like, why can't it just be free? Like, come on. Like, why do we have to pay for water? Which I guess you could argue, like, if you have a well, it's free because it comes from the sky. But we're talking about just like water in general, like just going to a gas station, you're thirsty. I'm like, can I get some water? And it's like, that'll be $3 or whatever. I can understand where you're coming from. Definitely, Amy. Amy, thank you for commenting. And everyone who commented on yesterday's 48 Facebook question of the day, I greatly appreciate it. As I said, it always makes my day. That is for sure. And also another story you're just not going to want to miss coming up in our evening newscast. Get all the school delays and closures for tomorrow due to the weather. That is also on our website. So if your school system, if you're wondering if your school system will be delayed tomorrow, make sure to check out WAFF.com and tune in to the evening newscast as well tonight. But that is just about all she wrote for today's Before the Four. I'm letting you all out a little bit early so you have some time to get ready for the evening newscast, that is for sure. But enjoy tonight's evening newscast. Enjoy this evening. Try to stay warm. Double up on the blankets. Double up on the hot cocoa, the coffee. Whatever it is that you do to stay warm, make sure you do that tonight because Brad said it would be, 8 degrees tonight? Which is way too cold for me, that is for sure. But, and also make sure you download the 48 digital app, the 48 First Alert weather app. You're definitely going to want that. And the 48 Sport Zone app. Turn on those push notifications and you will never miss a breaking news story. But with all of that out of the way, thank you so much for watching. And you all have a great night.